The 2021 Anambra governorship election served as the latest test ground on progress made in Nigeria's electoral system. 2022 looks like another eventful year in the electoral space, with the Federal Capital Territory FCT Area Council and that of Ekiti State governorship elections lined up. Already, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has released the timetable and schedule of activities for both elections. However, first to come is the FCT Area Council elections, scheduled for February the 12th. Seats of chairman, vice chairman, and members of the area councils of the Federal Capital Territory will be decided. Now, what are preparations looking like? What are the lessons learned from past elections? And what should be done better to improve the electoral process before the next poll in the FCT? This will be our focus on the program Nigeria Today. I am Lydia Ochi. Thank you for joining us. Joining me in the studio to talk about this is the resident electoral commissioner for the Federal Capital Territory, Professor Yahaya Bello. Nice to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. But I'm not a professor. I'm just ordinary Alhaji Yahaya Bello.
Okay. Looking forward to you being a professor.
Thank
also with us in the program to talk about this is the program manager, elections, Yaga Africa, Paul James. Good to have you join us again.
Thank you for the invitation. Good evening.
Okay, let me talk to the future professor. February 12th, INEC will be conducting the FCT Area Council election. Time for sure is running out. How prepared is INEC for this election?
Well, with gratitude to Almighty God, we are preparing for this election. We have started preparation since 31st of March 2021 when we issued the notice of the election for the FCT. Incidentally, it is only in the FCT that INEC conducts what we call area council or local government election. All the other local government elections are conducted by various states government, by our own laws. Mm-hmm. So it is only here that we conduct this election. We issued a notice of poll. From the time we issued that notice till today, a lot of preparations have gone through. We invited political parties, to feature and ask their candidates to apply, for forms so that they will feel, their interest and everything. Okay. In fact, we also made sure that party primaries were properly conducted. Since then, a lot of things have been going on: consultations, stakeholders conferences, preparation for election, and also what we are in now is a general campaign by all the candidates. We have 6 local government chairmen contesting, 14 political parties are contesting. We have councillors that are contesting, 62 councillors, in the FCT. So this is the level of preparation that we have been making. Mm-hmm. We have also introduced a new system in the recruitment of our own ad hoc staff. Okay. Mostly, the ad hoc staff in the INEC election procedures have been conducted by members of the National Youth Service Corps. And this time around, we opened a portal whereby those who are going to conduct election, POs, APOs, SPOs, they apply through the portal. The portal was closed on the 7th of this month, and by this week we start sorting out those who are going to be invited to partake in trainings. Okay. In all, we require 18,702 or so ad hoc staff to conduct this election. That is including SPOs, APOs, and POs. Okay. But in order to be safe, when the time comes on the D-Day, we have also added 5% of this number, making it 12,000, so that we can train 12,000. That is 5% more in case of any failure of other people who have been trained to turn up. So that is how the level of preparedness we have gone. We have two sort of materials. We have sensitive and non-sensitive materials. The sensitive materials are the materials that wait until the last days of the election. That is Friday, Saturday, before we assess them. That is the ballot papers and the result sheets. But also the ballot boxes, the cubicles, what have you, preparation for racks, what have you, is already been going on. We have reached a lot of, a very significant stage in order to get this election.
You have really, from all indications, you are almost ready. Anything remains left to be done? Anything left to be done?
We have not started the training yet.
Okay.
We are going to train the ad hoc staff. We are going to we specialize in INEC on consultations and holding stakeholders meetings, so that people are more aware, where we appeal to them to, to be able to partake in this election peacefully, especially political parties, But during this process, when we started when we issued the notice of election, we also started the continued voter registration exercise all over the country. But in INEC, we suspended our own about 2 weeks ago, so that it will enable us, print the new PVCs for those who partook in this exercise.
Okay.
And the exercise is ongoing, is continuing all over the country, except for the FCT.
Okay.
And in the FCT, we only suspended it. Also, while we waited for the new cards to be printed, the collection of the old cards continued. So it was not suspended, it has not been stopped.
Okay.
Even right now, as we speak, prospective voters, those who partook, and those who did not collect their cards, they are trooping in our offices, in the 6 local government area councils to collect their
Okay.
their
Now,
cards.
Paul, election in the FCT seems to differ from those in other parts of the country. If you look at the preparations, you don't see or hear the tension as is the case in other states. What makes the FCT different?
Well, FCT election is supposed to be the mirror for other elections that happens in the country, and also an election happening in between two governorship elections. If you recall, Anambra elections was conducted in November of 2021, and then Ekiti, our national election will soon be conducted in June and July of 2022. And so, just like you had also observed, I anticipated that we will see that election tension or election tension in the air, but yeah, it has been a bit calm so far, perhaps because people in the FCT perhaps approach election a little bit differently. Let us also not forget that preparation for this election started about 10 months ago. Since March of last year, we're almost getting to the finish line for the E-Day. And so I actually also anticipated that we'll see more of political campaigns by political parties. We have visited a few political parties. A few of them had also expressed that commitment to engage the process and do their own campaign. But then you don't see it the way you see it in other states. We are hoping that in the coming weeks, the election is barely a month from today. We are hoping that in the weeks ahead, the political parties will pick up, the campaigns will pick up by political parties, so they will be able to mobilize people to participate in the elections.
Okay, now, still staying with you, looking at the last election in Anambra State, what is or are the takeaways from that election that can help in making the next election, for example, the FCT, better?
Well, On the negative side for me, one of the fallout of the Anambra election was the participation. Only about 10% of voters participated in that election. So if you think about the sort of what went into the planning for the election, especially looking at from the logistics side in terms of INEC, you are trying to discourage wastages in our election, that the more people refuse to participate in the process, the more we encourage that culture of wastage. And also, what we have seen also, based on lessons from election observation in time past, where people don't get to come out to vote on election day, those are the locations that the bad elements in the society, the bad politicians go to manipulate the process. Now, on the flip side also, we saw a determined INEC that want to introduce some innovations in the electoral process that will help to also improve the quality and integrity of elections. We saw the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, which was an upgrade from the smart card reader that we used to know in our elections. And also, INEC introduced or upgraded what we used to call voting points to polling units. In Anambra, we used to have 4,608 polling units, and they were all upgraded to 5,720 polling units. But there was a challenge with that. With all the communication, especially around allocation of the polling unit to voters, was not properly managed by INEC, because we saw some polling units, about 86 polling units that had 0 voters. Elections were not conducted in those polling units. And then about 893 polling units with between 0 and 49 voters. So lessons from Anambra, we are hoping that the Commission will learn from that, and then if we come to the FCT election, that there will be proper allocation of these polling units to voters, and also proper communication of the location of these polling units to voters. We already have a crisis in our hand. If you think about the, some parts of the FCT, like the Buhari area, for instance, that have loads of voting points that have not been converted to polling units. So now that we have the resident electoral commissioner here, perhaps he will tell the people of Abuja how INEC has been able to reallocate these polling units to voters, and where voters, and also the sort of communication to voters as to where they will go and mark their ballots on election day. But over and beyond that also, another concern that we have raised from this election is the fact that, like we have seen in Anambra, INEC try to introduce innovation along the process, which is good, but sometimes we expect that a mock exercise will have been conducted, like even the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system. Here we are again. We used to know INEC work with the National Youth Service Corps to administer election, and now we're hearing INEC has opened the portal to public. So we are concerned that accountability, would you hold to account if some of these people get to this? We are not hoping that they will do that, but if they get to do anything untoward on election day, for the National Youth Service Corps, for instance, you can always go back to the people they report to and report to them in the event of any infraction. So perhaps INEC is also here. They will tell us what mechanism they have in place to checkmate this.
Well, he's here, and of course Nigerians are listening to you, and the appropriate quarters are also listening. We'll take a break now. We'll come back to continue the discussion.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms. For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24, news and more news.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nigeria Today, and we still have the Resident Electoral Commissioner for the Federal Capital Territory, Yahaya Bello, and the Program Manager, Elections, Yaga Africa, Paul James. Yes, Paul James raised a concern just before we went on break. We would like you to react to that, Resident Commissioner.
Thank you very much. You know, the very sweet thing about having observers, having people who monitor election, having critical stakeholders, is for INEC to benefit in any way that is possible. First of all, we in INEC will benefit if there is criticism so that we can improve. INEC will also benefit if we are praised so that we can do more. I partook also in the Anambra governorship election as a supporting reg. You see, the election in FCT, this time around, in 2019, we held this election alongside the general election. That is that of the President, National Assembly, election. But this time around, we are doing it separately. So you wouldn't see the hustle and bustle, of campaign as we witnessed during a general election, because this is like an isolated election. So you have to reach the people before they even know that they are having a separate election. And we too also in INEC here in the FCT, we are conducting this election under a new polling unit system. In 2019, while it was 871 polling units, we are conducting this 2,822 polling units. We are going to ensure that, during the CBR, and also during the last CBR we conducted, we have been able to reach people so that they know exactly where they will go and vote. If it happens that we have the same problem like he enumerated in Anambra State, where you have only a polling unit that has 1 to 49 voters. This CBR, this new units, is like something that has been done in order to make it easy, people to have easy access to polling units. There could be 1 or 2 problems, which I believe before the 2023 general elections, it was going to be rectified. People would be more aware on where to vote and where not to vote, especially where people, registered before, the baby unit, which is the polling units and polling board settlements, now that they are polling units themselves, people will be able to know. In between now and then, so this answered,
okay.
This one will answer his question.
All right.
And also, if you look at the Anambra election, that is different here also. In Anambra's election, there was a lot of security challenge. There was a lot of security fear. Here, even if there is any security challenge, it's not as that one. So definitely, we expect that the turnout and participation in FCT, also with a lot of publicity, sensitization, and consultations that we have been carrying on, I'm sure that the level of participation, will definitely improve during this election.
Thank you very much. Now, yes. Paul, reports indicate there are about 227 young candidates who are running for either chairmanship or councillor elections in the 2022 FCT area councils elections. How important is this to youths holding key positions in the country?
I think I personally was impressed when I also heard about this, and also with the background that Yaga Africa has also engaged and interacted with these young people. We organized a symposium where we had the very many of them that also had indicated interest to participate in the election. So what that demonstrates for me is that the democratic space is gradually being opened up, especially to allow young aspirants to participate in the process. And also because if you are looking at, if you are talking about political inclusion, oftentimes we know it is the young people and women that have also often been neglected in the political setup. So perhaps FCT will give us a new narrative. FCT election will give us a new template, especially as we build towards the 2023 election. If this translates to actual winning of votes on election day, I'm sure that is going to be a very huge boost for the 2023, and we'll see more young people engage the 2023 process. So for me, it is a step in the right direction, and I hope that that will translate to actual winning come the February 12th.
Okay. Now, Commissioner, the Electoral Amendment Bill, which the President declined assent to, would have brought in a lot of reforms, according to some Nigerians. That's the way they feel. Now, did the President's decline affect your preparations for this poll?
No, please. The issue of the amendment, of the electoral bill, is a matter of National Assembly. This is a matter from National Assembly to INEC headquarters, the commission itself, the National Commission, and the presidency. We in INEC, FCT, and in the states, we conduct election based on what is on the ground as a rule. This will not affect, this election, which we are going to conduct now, because of this important reason. One of the bane of the contention they are talking about is the issue of primaries. Is that not correct, madam? It's the issue of primaries. So the issue of primaries does not affect this election at all. We have already conducted our primaries a very long time ago. The political parties conducted their primaries. INEC already monitored their primaries. We came out with a list of those who are going to contest this election. We are only waiting to conduct this election next month. The issue of the amendment does not affect our own election at all, because we are talking about primaries. We have already conducted our primaries a long time ago. So let me also take this opportunity to talk about the portal which we have opened. It is not only, we have not opened our portal to the general public. You see, there is rule, and there are qualifications which we attach to whatever you want to apply as a stakeholder, as an ad hoc staff. That is, if you are going to become an SPO, this is the category. Okay. If you are going to be PO, this mostly members of the NYSC.
Okay.
And also, I want to say this so that I will allay the fears, about bringing in people. That is, this portal, even those political parties, they are agents who are going to partake in the election as the agents. They will also apply through the portal.
Okay.
The agents will apply to the portal so we can get. It's not to throw it. We are not throwing it open
to everybody.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very
categorization.
much. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Well, time is not on our side. So, well, Paul, I don't know if you have anything to wrap up this conversation quickly in 30 seconds.
Yeah. He has said it. I appreciate him for the clarification, and I can also confirm that even for observer accreditation, our accreditation was also done through the online portal, and for me that also is to confirm assert the gradual penetration of technology in our election, which we have also been clamoring for, and this is also will be perfected by the time the National Assembly get to review the Electoral Amendment Bill and also pass it on to the President for his assent. This is all we are calling for, that the President will finally sign the amendment bill so we'll have the kind of election that Nigerians want.
Thank you so much. Time has really run out of time. Now this is where we'll wrap it up on Nigeria Today. Thanks to the resident Electoral Commissioner, Federal Capital Territory, Yahaya Bello, for updating us with preparations for the FCT Area Council election coming up on the 12th of February 2022. We appreciate your contributions. And appreciation also goes to the Program Manager Elections, YAG Africa, Paul James, for sharing your perspectives with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We also thank you, our viewer, for always being there. Don't forget you can also watch this and other episodes of the program on YouTube on www.nt/news24hub.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Lydia Ochi. See you tomorrow.